wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the darkness and
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, today, guys, we're going to do a little bit of a different review because this video will be shown not only on
Midwest reviews, but it'll also be showcased
on Transformers reviews. So that's why we're doing this a little bit different than usual. So brace yourself, guys, today, because we're going to be taking a look at Trypticon, his smaller deluxe partner, Full Tilt, and his headmaster, Necro. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and we'll jump straight to Full Tilt himself. And Full Tilt, as you can see, he is actually a deluxe class figure. And that being said, if you look down here, here is Six Shot, and over there is Overlord. Now, Overlord and Six Shot are Voyager class figures. So when you compare Full Tilt right to next to them, you can kind of see the size comparison of what everything's going on.
Yeah.
And before I forget, you had something you wanted to say, didn't you?
Well, I just wanted to say that this video is going to be a learning experience for me because I don't know a lot about Transformers, but today is going to be certainly that, a learning experience, and I mean, just going to be a lot of me listening and asking some questions about these things. I mean, this is a big, giant Transformer, a big behemoth, and I mean, it takes a lot of time and effort to put something like this together, so wow, I'm just in awe.
So, back on track here. Full Tilt, as you can see, he's, I mean, excellent sculpt and everything. Definitely an improvement from the old G1 Full Tilt that we had because, like, he just folded like 3 different ways and you have him done. This guy has so much more articulation. He is just like any other deluxe class figure that you might see. The same amount of motion you get in most deluxe figures, Full Tilt has in him as well. Now, the thing with his gun here is it detaches and reattaches in vehicle mode, which we'll show that out very shortly. So if we take a look at his headmaster here.
Just pop that sucker off.
Now Full Tilt's headmaster, Necro, he has a little bit of a hard time coming off the body. But if you look at Necro here, you can kind of see a little bit of the molding and everything, how he is. There's Full Tilt's head.
Very detailed for such a small guy.
Yes, and unlike most Titan Masters that get recycled, he is a brand new mold for a Titan Master. So I gotta say though that it's awesome whenever they can make a figure, a brand new figure, because sometimes as Transformer fans we get sick of all the same remolds, and for those of you that collect and have had that happen, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, besides that. So we're going to go ahead and take Full Tilt now that he's been detached here from Necro. And here's his gun like I showed you earlier. So if we go ahead and attach that.
Turn it down. Go down. Go down. Yep, there you go.
There we are. You see, he's just basically a futuristic Cybertronian car with the armament on top. But you're thinking, well, what about his headmaster, Necro? Well, that's the funny thing, is Necro, even though he's like most deluxe figures of the Titans Return line, basically he can serve as a transport for his headmaster. So you see he sits right in there. Boom, he's taken care of.
Awesome. Now
for him, that's why Full Tilt is so awesome for Trypticon. Because Trypticon is basically a city set. So you can have Full Tilt. I forgot to do something on Full Tilt. Alright, so for Full Tilt you can have him, and if a kid has this, they can definitely play, you know, like he's coming down the ramps, you know, or if he's up here. I'll go ahead and move these guys. That's the one thing about Trypticon, is he has a lot of ports for these Titan Masters where they can plug in many different places all over Trypticon.
Nice.
So if you have him up here, let's see if you just...
There you go.
Yep.
Easy peasy.
Full Tilt has yet another feature, because if you notice here in city mode, Trypticon has all of his towers and everything ready to go. Well, if you look at it, this little piece right here is a little bit skinny. It doesn't have a lot of stuff going on. So what we do with that is you take this tower piece, fold down this bit, you attach Full Tilt, fold that up, seals him in place, boom, he helps fill out that tower a little bit. So in the instructions.
Oh, okay.
Also, whenever he's in spaceship mode, he also, since he's attached to that piece, he becomes the cannon later. That's why that little bit is on there.
That makes sense.
So, but for right now, they want him disguised as a tower, you know.
Yeah.
Even though there's like clearly wheels sticking off the side of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's not a big deal. Okay,
That's not
so
a big deal.
as you noticed earlier, now we're going to move on to the main deal, our main attraction, Trypticon. And the reason behind Trypticon being like he is right now is this is the most spread out his city mode can be. Now, in a lot of the instructions, you'll see there was advertisements for 6-shot, for Overlord, for Sky Shadow, and attaching to Trypticon, because the original G1 Trypticon attached to 2 Motormaster and Onslaught. Well, they wanted to keep that, but because they've already released those in the Combiner Wars line, they couldn't retrofit them to combine with them. So what they did was they instead substituted these bigger figures of Overlord and 6-shot to serve in those places. So anyway, one of the other things about Trypticon being is that not only does he have pegs for all the Titan Masters, but he has 5mm peg holes for a lot of other emplacements. Now that could mean either one of these, the guys right here, that either came in the set of Titan packs. You know, like here's Ape Face. So you could even attach them, say, you know, like up here on this antenna, or you know, say this one from Skull's Cruncher. You could go ahead and place it here, or you know, just for fun, let's go ahead and place it over here. So I mean, any one of these figures, there's numerous places to attach them with the 5mm peg holes. So, and I did notice with a lot of these Titan Master figures, the holes on their feet, some of the pegs are a little bit big, so it does take a little bit of work without making sure that you break the hole on the leg of the Titan Master. So
Yeah, I've noticed that with this guy, his hole is a little too small, so I'm not going to try it anymore.
well,
Snap.
you have a little bit of discernment in you.
Yeah.
Which I did forget to mention one thing. That in regards to Trypticon in this mode, one more thing that I wanted to show off is this front section actually comes up. And the reason for that is whenever Full Tilt is just himself by the car, it actually is a launch bay / garage / storage. So if you want Full Tilt out of the way, boom.
Oh, wow.
Seal
That's
it.
nice.
Yeah. And then, you know, if you're ready to deploy Full Tilt, then out he goes, and off and running. So anyway, what we'll go ahead and do, this is just kind of the overall city view. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it because Trypticon is a complex figure, and you know, I just wanted to give you guys kind of a brief glimpse of everything that's going on. Like I said, normally, you know, I go a little bit in depth, sometimes a little bit too much, so I have to do a lot of editing on my videos, which I'm glad that's why you're here. Keep me moving, keep me on track.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Alright, so
Okay,
guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we will move on and we will show you Trypticon in Battle Station mode. Well, Battle Station, Spaceship, it's kind of for debate as to what it actually is. So,
Okay.
Alright, we'll be back in just a second.
Yep.
Now, I don't know about you. I'm going to be honest, Cameron. I mean, okay, it's a Cybertronian ship, but does that look like much of a spaceship to you personally?
Well, maybe.
I mean, okay, so they say that these are supposed to be the wings, but I mean, still you get the dino sword pieces sticking off back here, which you can't see, but it's okay. Well, I'll tell you what.
Well, I was going to say, let's just turn it around.
See, Trypticon's head and arms are just sticking up. This thing is light for as big as it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
maybe we're being a little too hard on this.
I think it's something. I mean, it looks pretty beastly to me for our spaceship.
Well, and you know what what was always funny is this was the same way on the old Trypticon. You notice his dinosaur head right here. Well, if you look when they designed the old one and the new one, it kind of vaguely right here, like if this was his mouth and this was his eye, it was meant to resemble his dinosaur head on this end too.
Okay.
Even though it ultimately becomes his tail. So, you know what? I mean, it's big, it's bulky. Here we have again Overlord in his jet mode. So look at the size comparison for that. I mean,
yeah,
that's huge. I mean, he can fly circles around Trypticon, but that's just because Trippy is so big here.
Yeah.
But again, here we have Full Tilt, and you see he's in cannon mode. And what I love is the piece that they used to attach into Trypticon. It actually camouflages him for the most part, as a car. It looks just like a big cannon. At least
yeah.
to me. What do you think, Cam?
I think it looks like a big cannon. Yeah.
I think it's that little piece, like I said, that hides it. So,
Yeah.
one of the things I forgot to mention in the last section, and it's hard to see, but on Trypticon here, it's not used in any other mode because in his stomach mode is right here beneath full tilt. But this section right here is like, you can kind of see it's got a little bit of a garage here, and there's a whole huge section. So if you wanted to store a bunch of Titan Masters in this little compartment, you could do that. It's just our alternative option. And that's not mentioned in the instructions. I just found to just kind of mess around with it. Anyway, but overall there's not a whole lot more. I mean, it's just basically you took the city mode and you folded it up, and you know, you basically get the spaceship mode. So I think probably out of all three, this is probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, even though it is, after looking at it, I'm becoming more accepting of its spaceship mode. And I do like the spaceship look here now that like I said, now that I've kind of looked at it. Because this is the second time I've put him in this mode. The first time I did it, when I was just figuring him out, I didn't really take the time to look at it. And it's not terrible. But, again, I think I like city mode a little bit more.
Well, personally, I like him in Dinobot mode because, I mean, he's a T-Rex. So, I mean, who doesn't like a T-Rex?
Well, but between city and spaceship, what
Between
is your...
city and spaceship, I have to probably agree with you that spaceship mode is the better. I mean, there's a lot more to it in spaceship mode. In city mode, there's a lot more to it. And yeah, I mean, that's why I feel too. So.
All right. Well, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and move on to T-Rex mode.
All right, T-Rex. Your parents didn't teach you to share?
No. Okay, so one of the first features, we're just gonna jump right into it, is on the old Trypticon. He had the same little panel that would pop up, and you could pull a laser out of the top part of his nose. Mm-hmm. Well, on this one, I didn't know this, but we discovered this today. When you open the top part of the deal, it's on a spring, so it just poof, pops up, pushes the lid open and everything. So I thought that was a cool little adjustment that they did.
Neat little deal. Yeah.
So one of the other things is he's basically an upscaled, more detailed version of the 80s one. And when I say that, a lot of the engineering is same, but for the little bits of improvement, there are just those slight bits of adjustment as far as transformation go. But one of the things that I can't get enough of is the arms on Trypticon. All the range and motion it's supposed to unplug, but because on the old one it was just stiff and you could open and close the fingers. Now, to kind of mimic that, what you can do is you can take like a Titan Master, like he's got one right here, boom, and he's got one, he's not letting go, you know. He's got one, well, he wouldn't. When you close the fist correctly, he won't let go.
I was about to say, he's letting go this time.
You know why? Because he's hungry.
I was about to say, I think he's hungry.
You know why? Else? You know what? Let's feed him. Because in this guy, I did mention his stomach, right? So if you open up Trypticon, he has a hole right there in his gullet.
Yeah, gag the guy.
Yeah. Okay, now I'll feed you. He eats Titan Masters. How cool is that? It's like popcorn. Popcorn from the Oh, you know what I just noticed? He has two pegs here for a Titan Master. Like a Titan Master is like, no! You know, like he's resisting being eaten, which I think is kind of funny. Who is this? Oh, this is, you know, so like he's like resisting it, but in the end.
Cookie Monster.
Whoa! That's the other thing. He has a lot of flexibility, so you can have him stand in a couple different poses. And his tail is pretty dynamic, because on the old one...
His tail is pretty awesome, actually.
It's like a big club, because on the old one it kind of came down to a little bit of a finer point, because the way it needed to for the other modes. But the thing is now it doesn't have to hit the ground. So, with that being said, here Full Tilt is covering up the stomach area, because that gullet empties into two different chambers where all these little Titan Masters are hanging out. And Pia, if you look at his review, he actually was able to get, oh gosh, over 20 different Titan Masters in his stomach area.
Oh wow.
So
he was a hungry dude.
yeah. Well, and he talks about how you can get all that done and everything. So
Yeah.
anyway, so overall, Cameron, you said that this was your favorite mode.
This is my favorite mode.
Why is Trypticon's Beast Mode your favorite?
Why is he my favorite mode? Because I think it's because of how big he is in comparison to the others, and the fact that he just looks so beastly, and the fact that, I mean, he looks menacing when you have him like this. I mean, you said he's got a full range of motion on his limbs, and that's a fact, and I love that he has a full range of motion. So you can make him look like anything, like he's grabbing a hold of a Transformer, like he's eating a Transformer. You know, you can make him do all the stuff, and the tail is, I agree, probably better than the tail on the other one. Because I've seen the other one you have, and it's not as impressive as this one. I mean, although I will admit, I don't know about you, but it almost does feel like his tail was chopped off.
It is kind of like a club sort of deal.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they did that was for like spaceship mode.
Could be. Yeah.
And forgive me for not putting in the headmaster, but when you see the overall body of Overlord here, you'll get an idea of how big Trypticon is compared to his body.
Yeah,
I mean, look at that. He just comes up to right there, right below his hip.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, that is a big behemoth.
Yeah.
I mean,
so, but anyway,
T-Rex. I mean, who doesn't love a T-Rex? Like I said earlier. I mean, good God.
And he does have other pegs up here, like for, you know, again the Titan Masters. Because the one thing that they're incorporating is with him being part of the Titans Return line, they're incorporating as much as they can of said line with 5mm peg holes for all your little, you know, ship weapons or little pegs for the Titan Masters. So you've got a lot of options where you want to display them. Like this guy has one on both hips.
Yeah.
It just depends if you can see the little Titan Master here whenever you're displaying it. But you know, for kids, they're not going to care. His head is exposed at all times. Now, what they kind of did was back here. I don't know if you can kind of see it has a little bit of armor right here. And the reason they did that was whenever he comes back and rests in base mode, it's meant to. It's not doing it right now, but whenever it's actually in base mode, it's supposed to come over and cover his eyes to kind of, at least to some attempt, to conceal his dinosaur head. Which, I mean, you've got still this big mouth here, so it's a halfway. It's nice that they tried to do that, but I mean, ultimately, you know, it's not. I have to say, out of a 1 out of 10, and I've rarely, if ever, only given one Transformer a 10. Now this guy, mechanically, there's nothing wrong with him. Paint job is awesome. I haven't stickered him up because looking at him, I didn't really feel he needed to. I may eventually one day, but I like him as is. As far as, like I said, paint goes, he's perfect. The design of him, how he works, I really don't have any fault with this Trypticon, to be honest. And before I give my final verdict, one thing I did want to mention is just like the old one, I forgot to do this.
Oh yeah, so I was wondering about that too.
His cannons can flip forward because back here they're like a jetpack for him, which I think he might have used that in the show. But they can flip forward, and if you want the full-on laser cannons out, you can do that. So, and they go down to about right here. But then again, so if he's starting, you know, but most of the time I think it looked better like this. So, but ultimately, you know, even though it's a rarity, I really can't find fault with him. Yeah. So I'm for the second time ever a 10.
A 10 for you?
Yeah. What and as far as so from a person who doesn't delve into this all the time, on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being absolutely perfect, or 1 being absolutely terrible, 10 being absolutely perfect, where, in your opinion, where do you rank Trypticon?
With everything that he does, honestly, I mean, just for the sheer fact that he's a T-Rex alone, I would rate him 10. Just the fact that he's a T-Rex, I mean, that for me does it, because I mean, you have the ability to transform a robot into a T-Rex. I mean, come on. because I didn't know a lot about that prior to going into this video. So
what would you
My-
say in your opinion is, because again guys, this isn't just a Transformers reviews episode, this is also a Midwest reviews episode, so that's why we're kind of bridging the gap between these two things. So Karen, what would you say
is my best feature?
well, what is one thing that you learned about Trypticon here that you didn't know before?
One thing that I learned about Trypticon is this guy right here can be many different things besides its car. It could be a cannon, it could be an accessory to him in many different ways, and I did not know that it had these, that's why they had those little pegs. Or for these little guys, I didn't know that they had that. So you can use these guys all over the place. Now I did obviously know about the eating part, that he could eat, but
And if
I didn't realize how many he could eat. So I mean, in a competition of who could eat the most, I'm sure he'd win.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is if you want full tilt, you can have him as, he doesn't have to stay attached to Trypticon in any one of these modes. He's not vital for transformation. Now in the base and spaceship modes, if you can detach this whole section right here. You can detach it actually off of his stomach section and just have a cleaner version. Now there's a little bit of a gap here, a tiny bit, but like from what I'm looking on camera, it's not very noticeable because this whole section you can just leave it off if you want to have full tilt separate from Trypticon. Yeah, and then you can just put this off to the side. So it's not necessary. I love that they gave you that option. Plus, for when you're trying to get the Titan Masters out of his stomach,
A little easier.
yeah, it opens the door farther down this. So,
Yeah.
just little features that I thought here and there, and but anything else that you found interesting, sir?
Other than the fact that he moves more than the other one does that you have, that he's a little more limber, even though he doesn't necessarily walk. He still can move in a lot more different spots.
And there he is, his past iteration with his future iteration. And if you were to put them on the same level, like if that's level,
Let me zoom out, because that... Okay. Better...
this foot is level with the top of where his other self's foot is.
I mean, it's
The
a
head.
little hard, because there's a shadow, but that's okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, you kind of get the idea. You get the gist.
How much bigger he is.
Yeah, you definitely get the gist. And, yeah, I mean, that's a big behemoth, like I said before.
And if you look over to the left, there is Metroplex.
Yeah,
So
that
if
big guy.
If we kind of do it like this, maybe. Get a
Yeah.
little bit of it, because these guys are arch rivals. So can you come around from maybe that side?
Yeah,
This
right
is
there. Boom.
about right here. So Trypticon's foot, because Metroplex's foot actually sinks down on. This has a little bit of a rise to it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
his foot
Makes
would
sense.
have to be about right here. So that gives you a scale comparison. Alrighty, in final thoughts, we've given our thoughts on Trypticon here. I'm very glad to own him. I went back and forth for a long time, but after I ended up giving away my old Trypticon to a young man who was very deserving of Trypticon, which at that point I said, you know what? I'm missing that Trypticon, but I have the opportunity to upgrade, so that's why I went with this Trypticon.
It was on sale too, right? It
Yes.
was on TF Source.
So on Cyber Monday, of all things, this guy usually went for, oh gosh, probably about $149, and he was on sale definitely below $100.
Wow.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm jumping on that, like
White on rice.
chicken on a June bug. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So anyway, guys, we don't want to ramble too long, but yeah, this is just kind of one of those one-off sort of hybrid reviews between the two channels. Like I said, it'll be on both of them. So if we didn't quite follow our normal standard, it's just because we were trying to find a balance between the two. So,
Yeah.
anyway, guys, but for both channels, both Transformers reviews and
Midwest Reviews.
we're going to go ahead and have a lot more videos for both.
Absolutely.
So please stay tuned to those channels. If you haven't subscribed to one or the other and you think you might be interested, please feel free to check out the videos on the other channel. And anyway, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this review of Titans Return Trypticon, Full Tilt and Necro. And next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Okay, sounds good.